How you doing?
I'm doing very
Good, good. So, what are we up to? What are you playing?
Okay, so I set myself the challenge to try and do something useful with the Dragon 32's cartridge port, basically build myself a Gpio so that I could talk to various electronics.
Right.
So I've built this here and connected up this LCD display as a test. I will now assemble some code in All-Dream, which will talk directly to the LCD display. So let's
Look at that.
watch that build. I've done this all on the machine, sort of old school style. So I'll just jump into the debugger, run the init code, which should set the display up. So you should now see a flashing cursor hopefully on there.
Oh, yeah. Right.
You know it's ready. I'll now write the display buffer out. So call that. And see.
Hey, Dragon Meetup. Nice.
And to take it a step further, we can now switch back to basic, and I can load in some simple basic code which can talk directly to that machine code.
So what's going on over here?
Here is basically acting as a solid state cassette deck because I was having issues with analog tapes. So and I've just rigged up this old number pad as a sort of simple quick controller to insert tapes.
Right.
Lazy basically. So I've
Does the job though.
loaded that in, very simple code which basically will poke into that display buffer and then call it. So if I run that, I know I can put in computing history and it will send it to the display.
Look at that. Awesome.
So there you go, the Dragon acting like a Raspberry Pi, really.
yeah. Who needs a Raspberry Pi when you've got a 1980s Dragon 32, eh? Oh, that's just got me in trouble with Raspberry Pi lot. That's cool. But yeah, you could just create the GPIO just out of the port there. So that port is usually where the cartridge goes.
Yes.
So you've got like an 8-bit data bus there, and you're controlling that from via assembly language. Yeah. Nice. Excellent. So, and it's nice to be doing this as well on an original machine as well.
It's lovely.
Just talking a minute ago about you could do this by chucking the data over a serial port or just...
Yeah, I mean, I could have coded it all up on a PC, cross-built it and then transfer it across, but I found something really therapeutic about actually coding directly on the machine. It feels more real.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is real. Keeping true to the cause.
Yeah.
Nice one. Thank you very much. Thanks for bringing it along. All right. See you later. Okay, so we are now with Roy. Hi, Roy. How you doing?
Hello, mate.
Good, good. What do we have in your display here apart from a dragon?
Yeah, so we obviously had to bring a dragon, given that it's a Dragon Meetup.
Be rude not to.
It would be rude not to. My Dragon here has only been slightly modified from its original spec in that it has a 12-volt power supply card fitted.
I've seen a lot of those here today.
Yeah.
They just make things so much easier, don't they?
It does make things so much easier. Apart from that, she's a bog standard dragon, as you can see by the rather poor video output.
With the terrible video, everybody keeps talking about the poor
that's what
old...
makes it a dragon, isn't it?
How green.
So I've slightly bent the rules a little bit this year. So I've brought some variations of the 6809 CPU, which is what drives our beloved
Okay,
Dragon.
but there's our theme though. It's all 6809 still.
It's all 6 or variants of.
Right.
So, for example, this little silver machine. So this is a Panasonic JR200. She's quite a rare little machine.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
And it's a 6802 based CPU.
Okay, right.
A rather nice chiclet keyboard, which is sometimes odd thing to say, nice and chiclet in the same sentence. But it is actually a lovely little machine to use.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Yeah, it's quite nice, but again a very short life, unfortunately, like most of these little oddballs, which is the reason for my collection. The machines are oddballs.
And is this the output from it?
That's the output from it. So there's a little game that's running away, and it's just a simple run around the maze, kill the baddies, get to the exit type game.
Right.
But it's quite nice, quite good.
Yeah. Haven't seen one ever.
No,
so that's
most
quite
people
interesting.
confuse it with the Sega SC3000. It looks very
it does a
similar.
bit. Yeah, it does.
But it is a completely unique machine. It's nothing to do with the Sega.
Right.
Or in fact, it's not an MSX either. It's pre the MSX standard.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So something slightly bigger.
Yes. So this behemoth that we have here is the Fujitsu FM8. So this is a 1981 machine that actually came out before the FM FM7, which I know is rather odd, the 8 coming out before the 7. But spec-wise, for that period of time, she's actually quite huge. So in 1981, if you ignore the fact that this machine cost a small fortune, let me just get that doing something there for you. So what you got with this machine was dual 6809s. So it's got two 6809s in there. It's got 64k of RAM, which was unheard of in 1981.
That's a lot, yeah.
And it has this little compartment with a blanking plate in where you could store bubble RAM. So bubble memory compatibility on this Fujitsu, I've never been able to track any down.
Right, yeah, I bet that's very few and far between.
Very hard to come by. But it was like the USB of its day in that it was portable storage. You could take it from one machine and go put it in another and read it right to it.
Right, okay.
Which is quite a unique feature. Unfortunately, it never caught on, and the FM7, which came out a year after this, does not support it.
Oh, no.
So it was killed with this machine, really.
Right.
It was one of these machines that was sold as the business machine you can use in your home.
Yeah.
One of those.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Because we all did business from home then.
That's right.
But, I mean, now it makes sense.
Now it makes sense.
But now it's outdated.
In 1981, you know.
And can we pick it up so we can show people on the internet just how heavy it is?
It is.
I know this doesn't make any sense, but I mean, look at the weight of that. Yeah, look, he's struggling. It is, yeah. So this case around here, this is all metal for anybody that can't feel the weight in those pictures.
Yeah, quite hefty, with a fair amount of shielding inside as well.
Right.
So that adds to the weight.
Yeah.
Of course, internal power supply as well.
Yes, right.
All
Interesting.
Adding to the weight.
Great. There's another machine I haven't seen in the flesh before.
So here we have a Thomson T08. Again, a 6809 based machine.
Right.
This was the sort of last foray, really, into the 8-bit market, because this is quite a late comer. This is 1986.
Right.
So you're really starting to encroach on 16-bit territory here, to be honest. But what Thomson did was, rather than release a 16-bit machine, they just increased the clock speed, gave it more RAM, and with independent video modes. So this is the first Thomson really that wasn't as backwards compatible with the previous models as the rest were.
Right.
And for example, this game that's on the screen right now is a variation.
It looks great.
It does, and it's a variant of Jetpack. Yeah. So this machine will not run on the previous Thomsons. This is definitely just a T08 game. But as you can see, for an 8-bit machine,
that looks awesome. I love it.
It is a lovely. So they did a lot of work to make it work. Unfortunately, like most of the machines in my collection, it never really took off as a viable machine.
Yeah, but that's what makes them interesting.
It is what makes them interesting.
And that output I really do like. It reminds me a little bit of the Philips CDI, which did lots of anti-aliasing and stuff, and they've kind of gone and tried to do a bit of that there.
They have. I mean, it does have some fairly good video modes, and it has a massive 4,000 colour palette for an 8-bit machine.
Wow.
Yeah, and this particular mode is only a 32 colour screen, which is still fairly substantial, but there is a lower resolution to get 256 on the screen at once. For an 8-bit machine.
That's impressive. I like that. I like that one.
So that's
I'll take 2.
And last but not least is the lovely Matra Alice 90.
Yep, we have one of these in the collection. But yours is up and running now. It's just sitting there on display.
So it's up and running, a variation of Space Invaders there. So this is the Matra Alice 90. It's not compatible with its predecessors. So the two previous Alices that came before this was the Alice 32 and the Alice 4K, which is the MC10 type clone. This is a completely independent machine from 1984, and it's a 6803 based machine. This one.
Right.
And what made the Alice rather special, apart from its very short lifespan, is that you can do gen locking capabilities with this machine out of the box.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually add in series either a Betamax or a VHS video cassette recorder.
Didn't know that.
And you can actually put titling over the top of the video stream. Which for a 1984 machine, without having to buy a gen lock,
it's impressive.
Very, very impressive.
Yeah. If you wanted to do that sort of thing.
If you wanted to do that sort of thing,
Which most people didn't. But,
and I happen to love the styling, by the way. A lot of people think she's an ugly machine, but I love it.
I do.
I think it's lovely.
Yeah, it's got some great angles on it for absolutely no reason, and that's good enough.
And just because it's red makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Machines look better in red.
They do. Well, just anything rather than beige. cream
So I think
and all
what
that
I
sort of
really
stuff.
wanted to do today was just bring to show the variance of that CPU architecture, to show what other manufacturers did with it.
Yeah.
You know, and we were all proud of what the Dragon can do, and this was just a slight, you know, what did other manufacturers do with it?
Bringing a bit of colour to the exhibition.
Yeah, and I was hoping the machines I did bring, most people would go, what's that?
Yeah, I think they do. So I certainly did. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
And enjoy the rest of the day. Cheers. So one of the exhibits here that the Dragon Group have brought in is the Dragon Beta 128. So this machine never saw the light of day. We have other videos about this online if you look through the channel, but it's always nice to see it in the raw, as it were. I mean, look at this. So yeah, check out other videos on our channel, and we'll tell you all about the Beta 128. Okay, so next we have Tony, who's organised this event for us. Thank you very much for doing that, Tony, as usual. Right, what we got here?
Right, we've got, this is my 2-screen Dragon. So this one on the left, the amber output, is the original Dragon output. On the right, we have an 80-column card, which is down here. So this is a period thing. This comes from, I don't know, 1985, although it's a clone of the board from 1985.
Right.
So it gives me an 80-column display, and we still have the old Dragon display working there as well.
That's impressive. Very impressive. So this was available back then?
Yes, yeah, this is a period modification, this one.
Why?
Well, everything along here is trying to solve the fundamental problem with Dragons, which is the display is rubbish.
Nicely dodged. Yeah, okay,
So
right.
32 columns, it's wobbly and hazy and bright green, and that stopped the Dragon ever being useful as a business machine. So there's all manner of attempts over the years to solve that problem.
Right, but that is a lot of electronics in there,
Yes.
just to solve that problem.
It is.
And they did that to use the Dragon as a business machine. That's the primary reason.
That was the hope. I mean, this could run either OS 9 or Flex, which were the two kind of serious operating systems for the Dragon back in the 80s.
Right.
At 80 columns, so you can run spreadsheets and word processing, and it actually becomes a useful computer. The 2-screen thing is just a gimmick to show what it can do.
Yeah, it's an impressive gimmick, though. I mean, this was twin screens before that was a thing.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. So do you know how much these were back then?
No, I don't.
They've got to be getting on for after the cost of the machine, surely.
Probably, yeah. I mean, by the time you've done that, you've attached floppy drives to it, it's starting to become an expensive machine. It's like little Go-Tech.
So you've Go-Tech this one up.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got the original 5.25-inch drive there, and then a little Go-Tech with its OLED display. Very nice. Very nice. So what are these things here?
So these things here are Brazilian clones, of these machines, or the Tandy Coco. This is the Model 1, this is the Model 2. The main problem I have with these beasties is that they use PAL-M, which is a Brazilian TV format that nothing outside of Brazil understands. So the job for the long winter months is to get these converted to run NTSC so I can actually use them.
Okay, that can be done, can it?
It can be done. They also have one other problem, which is we have this cute but tiny little cartridge slot, which means that no Dragon cartridge will ever fit in it.
Yeah, not unless you squash them.
No.
Okay. Does anything fit in there?
No. I've never found anything that fits in there. You'll also notice it's very similar to the Timex 2068.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so that was definitely an inspiration for that machine.
I like the little that sort of chiclet keyboard on that one.
Yeah. They're both 64K machines, and they would be quite usable if I could ever get a sensible video out.
Right. Interesting. Moving along. We have a Darth Vader Dragon.
Yes, the Black Dragon. So, ta-da!
Lovely.
So, yeah, I didn't do this. Somebody did this a couple of years ago. So what this machine's got in it, yet another solution to the appalling graphics. This has a Raspberry Pico.
Right, okay.
And this is plugged into the 6809 processor. processor, and the Pico is emulating the Dragon's graphics chip. But because it's emulating it, I can do stuff like change the colour palette to get rid of the omnipresent green. That you get on Dragons.
Interesting. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you've got the Pico in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably twice as powerful as the machine is itself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there is a bit me thinks I could just emulate the Dragon on the Pico and turn the Dragon off, but that wouldn't be half the fun.
Oh, right. Okay. If you say so. And there looks like a little tiny thing down here with a tiny little area on it. Has this got Wi-Fi by any chance?
It has got Wi-Fi.
Right.
Yeah.
You've been tweeting with it lately?
No, but I could.
So it's a little serial board and...
Yeah, because this being a Dragon 32, this doesn't have a serial. So the Dragon 64's got serial, Dragon 32's don't.
Yeah.
So this was an add-on serial port, and I thought, well, what am I going to do with it? Oh, I'll stick one of those little Wi-Fi modules on it, so I don't have to worry about cables and stuff.
Very cool. So what can you do with that, though, in actual practical day-to-day use? Can you dump code onto it, or...?
I can use it for connecting to Presto.
Right, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Right, and you've got one of these newfangled power supply boards in the back there?
Yes.
Right, excellent.
Which you kind of need to power all these little add-ons and things.
Ah, right, so the original power supply wasn't really up to it?
It's not up to all the shenanigans that we're doing.
Okay, fair enough. Oh my word. So
again, this is an adaptation of a period upgrade to the Dragon. So this is a set of Yamaha chips that you would see in an MSX machine.
Right.
So you've got an MSX2 graphics chip and two different Yamaha sound chips on here.
Right.
Which actually isn't doing anything truly impressive. Give me a second, I'll see if I can get it to run the game. Of course, because I'm doing a demo live.
I couldn't find it.
I can't find it, see?
Where is it? Where is that froggy?
Where has he gone? SSFMPG. Oh, because we changed the name. I'm gonna load a different game pen.
It's foggy on there.
It's foggy. That's it. It's not froggy. It's foggy.
Is that to avoid copyright issues, or is that because somebody can't type?
I'm not sure. I don't know who to blame for that one. Okay. Right. It is nice having 80 columns on this one.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot more space to do this sort of thing.
Feels like we're working on a terminal.
Yes.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
That doesn't look Dragon.
No, it might not work though.
Oh. No, it was a start.
It was a start. Right, so after a bit of poking, I did manage to get my game running. So again, this is not your average Dragon game. It's an MSX game, which I am absolutely all for that. Oh, there we go. But it does show off what this mini chipped board, which I had to solder together myself.
Oh, really?
I'm amazed it worked first time. I'm truly amazed.
It is a complicated one.
It is, yeah. It's a bit of a beast. But yeah, yet again, wonderful things you can extend the Dragon into doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically now an MSX, though, isn't it?
It's an MSX machine powered by a 6809.
Right. Yeah.
Because we can.
Because.
Yes.
Just because. Right. Okay.
And final machine, yet another attempt to fix the dodgy graphics.
Very cool.
This is a modification for the Cocos, so it's a Coco Vga module here, which basically again replaces the graphics chip and emulates it.
Right. So this is that actually VGA coming out of there?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Impressive. That is a crystal clear picture.
It is, isn't it?
Lovely. And then this is some little demo program that's been done
Yeah. Just to show off what it can do.
So, where do we stand on all this in terms of ethics? Let's talk ethics.
There is a point where is it still a Dragon when you've done all that? If you quickly flip your camera around here,
I just want to get in on that chip. I mean, there are some hench number of pins on that chip there.
Yeah.
So,
here's a Dragon.
sorry.
Doing. I mean, this is the problem. Look, the quality of the output of this.
I like that. I mean, that's authentic. That's 80s.
And when the Dragon stops looking like that, is it still a Dragon?
Wow.
Or is it something else?
It's this question about when a tree falls in the woods. Is it still 8-bit or 16-bit? You just don't know, do you?
You don't know.
You just don't know. I mean, I do love all this stuff. I mean, because
it's all fun to do.
Yeah. But they're not exactly true to the original machine. No. But then saying that, you know, the fact that this machine from 1980, what was it, 2, 3, 2, is still living on. And so it's got some new bits and pieces in it, but it is still being used. It is still being pushed to the very limits with some new hardware. So actually, fair play to it all. Yeah. And certainly mods like the power supplies over here, just giving that extra longevity as well. Yeah. I mean, I've got a few of these machines in the shed with none of them have got power supplies, so they never see any action. No. So no, actually things like that give it that bit longevity. But it's really nice. It's great that the Pico's in there. Raspberry Pi will be very happy about that. Mm-hmm. So what's this one over here?
So no, this is so that's a 6809.
Right.
What's beneath that is a pull-up board. It's just basically trying to cut out noise on the bus. I've got all these things plugged into it,
right.
So that just kind of dampens the noise and gives the Dragon a fighting chance.
Right. So is it underneath there? Is it like got bus transceivers or something?
I think it's just resistors. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
Just pull down or something. Yeah. Right. Okay. Interesting. Right. Well, thank you very much, Tony. Thanks for organising all this as usual, and bringing everybody together. And let's go and have a look at somebody else's machines. Possibly one of my favourite things here today. It's very simple, but it's a Dragon ruler. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. And this is Phil. Say hello, Phil. And he's doing some work on a Dragon 32 here.
Yep.
What are we up to?
I'm trying to debug a fault with the new power board that has been reported to me.
So this is a power board that you've created?
Yes.
And it allows us to run Dragon 32s just off a standard 12-volt power supply. Awesome. That's really useful, because those old power supplies, they were just transformers, weren't they? Yeah. But they had multi-taps so that you could get various different voltages out of them.
That's right, yeah.
So what we've got coming out of this one then, it's 12-volt coming in.
12-volt coming in, and then plus 5, plus 12 and -5.
-5 for the sounds?
For the video.
Oh, for the video, okay. All right.
But on a Dragon 64 it has -12 because that's for the driving the serial port.
Right, okay. So that's a really cool addition. So are these available online, or is this just something you're doing?
Well, John Whitworth, have done, but he sold them all now.
Oh, okay. Right. So
I'm intending to open source the design.
Oh, okay. That'd be amazing. Right. Yeah. Excellent. So what's that one down there? Is that a 7805 or something? It's got no heatsink on it.
Listen, no, that's just a FET.
Oh, is it? Okay, right. Wait. Moving there. So what else have we got in here? Because this is a fairly specky Dragon 32. I'm not sure I use the word specky on it, but you know what I mean. It's got lots of ports in it.
I know what you mean. Well, multi-cart and the cartridge port.
Right.
Dragon Vga, which is a high Pico emulating the 6847, and allows you to drive a VGA monitor. I'm not actually got it connected up to it.
Right.
Wow. My previous video board, which was the Dragon RGB, which again allows you to drive an RGB monitor and you get much better quality pictures than you do with the computer.
Right.
And the Dragon 64 compatible serial port, and a keyboard switcher which allows you to do that's Dragon.
Yes.
That's a Coco.
Oh, right. Two machines in one.
It remaps the keyboard.
Ah, that's clever.
The Coco and the Dragon's keyboard matrix is slightly different.
Right.
So if that little board just swaps it over to the bigger Dragon matrix with Coco matrix.
Excellent. Love it.
So you can of course run Coco software.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because machines were very, very similar, but not quite. Yeah.
The main difference was the ROM. In different places.
Right. Fantastic. Wow. So that's a super Dragon. So do you need both boards there? So you've got the VGA there. No. So you actually only need one or the other.
With the VGA board, you don't actually even need the video chip in because it's completely emulated.
Oh, it's right. Yeah. Excellent. Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Phil. Enjoy the rest of the day. Yeah, right. Okay, so next here at the Dragon event we have Steve.
Hello.
Hi, Steve. How you doing? And you've brought along. Is this a game?
Yes, this is a demo of a game I've been working on for a little while now, called Cersei's Island.
Okay.
It's an original idea, and it's for the GMC, the Games Master cartridge, which is sticking out the computer there.
Right.
And this is my second attempt at trying to write a game. I'm not a games programmer. I'm not even a programmer.
Right.
But
well, for not a program, that's pretty impressive.
It's something I've spent a lot of time on. So this is possibly why it looks the way it does. It's taken a long time to get to this point.
It looks great.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what else I can tell you about it. But,
You've just somebody else has just been playing this. I've been waiting to come and have a look, and it seems pretty not complicated, but there's a lot to it. There's a lot going on the screen there, but everything there has different effects, and you have to treat differently. So you've just got that barrel there. You have to actually pick it up and throw it.
That's right. Yeah. There are things inside the barrels. So to get those pickups, you have to pick up and hello, just died. Yeah, you have to smash the barrels. The stars moving across the top, they all contain different things. So you've got to jump up, try and catch the stars. In terms of the complexity of the game, what I've tried to do is add a little bit more sophistication, because in the intervening years between the 1980s and now, obviously games have got a little bit more sophisticated. So I'm just trying to address some of that, so that modern, people now who are used to playing games might sort of engage with it a little bit more, with a little bit more of sophistication, but still trying to keep it looking like a Dragon game, feeling like a Dragon game. This is a Dragon 32. There's nothing special about it.
It is just a stock machine, effectively.
It is, yeah.
Right? And the cartridge in the side there does what then?
The cartridge in the side is basically just a bankable cartridge, so it's got 4 16K banks on it, so those were around back in the day.
Right.
It's also got a little period correct chip that's worth about 50 cents these days. It just enables me to generate 3 tones and a noise channel just by sending values to a certain register. So it takes some of the load off the CPU, enables me to have concurrent background music, which was something that was quite difficult to do back in the day. So I can have all that going. But I wanted something where if I could go back in a time machine and hand my 12-year-old self this game, he could just plug it straight into his machine and it would work.
Yep.
That's the philosophy. So I'm trying to keep it true to the hardware of the day.
It's really impressive.
Thank you.
That's one of the most impressive games I've seen, I think, on the Dragon 32. Not that I'm a particular connoisseur, but that definitely is. I mean, we have the one out on display in the main gallery, that looks really good.
Yeah, I've tried to take inspiration from early coin ops as well. So, like the screen you've just been looking at, the way you input your initials, the way everything kind of looks and feels. In fact, on the next screen that comes up, it'll say insert coin to signify that it's in its attract mode. And it'll just keep going through all the attract sequences. There we are, there's the insert coin. So obviously it's a home computer game, you don't need to put money into it, but it just sort of tries to recreate these early kind of Japanese like games from Taito and Namco and all those sort of companies.
You've got the kind of attract screens as well that are going on.
So I'm going to try and put a little tutorial in which just shows you some of those basic moves. Hopefully that'll get players over that initial not really feeling disorientated, not knowing quite what's expected ahead from them. So hopefully it'll all come together. There's still a lot to do on it, but it is getting there.
You're doing a great job, mate.
Thank you.
Absolutely great
Very
job.
kind. Thank
Is this going to be available then online?
Well, initially I'm hoping to release it as a cartridge because obviously it requires the hardware, but there's no reason why I can't make the ROM image available and people can play it through emulation or even put it onto their own cartridges if they're minded, you know.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Also, I'll just draw your attention to one more thing. When we get to the next screen, the character that I'm testing at the minute is my version of what Cuthbert might look like if he was in a game.
Right.
So there's been something like 7 Cuthbert games. He looked completely different in every one. It's fair to assume that those games were bought in by Microdeal, marketed as a Cuthbert series, but realistically they weren't a series. They didn't feature a character that looked like Cuthbert. So this is an unofficial game, but it could be the first game to feature an avatar that actually looks like Microdeal's Cuthbert character. So that's kind of interesting as well.
Nice. Like it. It's a lovely little touch.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, thanks, Steve. Thanks for bringing it along to the event this weekend. And great stuff. Looking forward to that coming out.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Okay, so next at the Dragon 32 event here at the museum, we have Richard. Hi, Richard. You've brought a couple of interesting things here. This thing looks really nice. What we got?
This is a Dragon 64 actual keyboard, the keys, and I've done a 3D printed case. It's Arduino driven. There's twin Arduino actually. We've got one Arduino driving the USB out here, which goes to the emulator.
Right.
And the other Arduino is driving the screen here. So this is sort of part one of a project. I call them Dragon Futures. It's sort of an imagination of what if, say, Dragon Data got a designer in like 1984 to redesign it and make it cooler. So in the future, these buttons will signal to a dragon, a real dragon, and these will control power and reset and things like that, so you don't have to lean around the back.
Right. So you've got that power switch in the back.
You've got the power switch back. So then this will go USB, and then that will go convert the USB back into the parallel key switching. I've got that breadboarded up, so that's part one done. But yeah, there'll be more features. I'll probably build in like the Dragon NMC, maybe VGA interface.
Right.
Who knows? But that'll be sort of next year or two, I think.
Yeah, it looks cracking.
Yeah, it's
really nice keyboard. So this is all 3D printed?
It's 3D printed. It was done on a Prusa Mini, and everybody keeps asking how big it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, how'd you get something that big on your 3D printer?
It's 11 separate pieces all joined together. So, like the left and right top clammed and it's joined in the middle.
Very clever.
Tongue and groove together.
Yeah, you naturally assume that's one big piece.
Yeah,
right.
and on the bottom, it's very similar.
Oh, look at that logo in there. Beautiful. Can you see it on the camera? Just about. Yeah.
So it's designed to be space saving as well, so I can stand it up when it's not in use. And that's why we got the Dragon on the bottom.
Brilliant.
So when it's on my desk, which I've got a tiny desk, it can take up a very little space. And again, you can see this is printed in 3 segments.
Yep.
And that's just the access port if I need to program the Arduino while using it.
That's really cool. That looks great. Love it.
But yeah, it was to play to the strength of the 3D printing, not the other way around.
I just like the finish to it up here.
This is using PET-G on their textured.
Right.
So it gives a really nice texture, and on the edges, they probably can't catch on the camera, we've got like nice lines, and I played the fact is that we actually get texture in here, which could be period, and it's meant to be a prototype looking anyway.
Yeah.
And obviously there's heavy influences from Auric and Apple and things of the day.
And black and red, I mean, nothing goes better in a boy's bedroom in the 80s than black and red.
No, it doesn't. Everyone looks black and red. And then on the back there's a standard DB9 interface, and then at the moment that just converts it to the cursor keys and spacebar. But in the future, I'm hoping it will operate the analog as well remotely through the USB.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Just on demo here with a couple of guys walkabout so people can have a quick play.
Yeah, love that. What have we got next to it? This looks like a Dragon 32. I've seen a few of those here.
It's quite a few Dragon 32s, but we've got something a little bit different. Duncan Smead of Dragon Data gave me a printout of the source code for the software that was used on the production line. So after they assembled the Dragon, to test all the ports and everything on it, they would put it in a test jig, and I had the code for that. So I went about, typed it in, but unfortunately when you start it up, you can't do anything because it's looking for signals on the printer port to tell it, you know, start the test, what's the test result. There's all time, space and things like that. So I put the ROM, and we got on the Dragon MMC, so I can load the ROM quite easily. And that's the SD card interface. So that's just an easy way of loading the ROM. And this is the standard Dragon 32, which this is sort of what would be testing on the production line. And what we've got on the screen here is what the results would look like in the factory. So when they tested it, like for example, when it's testing the joysticks, it would send out high, mid, low values, and then this Dragon would check it.
Oh yeah, because they were analog joysticks, weren't they?
Yeah, analog. So, and at the end of each test, the computer under test would signal to the master, the one that's testing it, and say, yeah, that's a good test. And it goes through all the basic I/O, and there's a very basic sound test in there as well when you start it, and the keyboard test, and they just signal back and forward to each other. This is Arduino Mega powered, and it's nothing to do with the original because we don't have any specs or anything in the original. So this is just reverse engineering back from the source code to actually make the code get the signals as it expects, so it can actually test, you know, the joystick ports and everything.
That's really clever.
So as we didn't do anything, I've basically done an interface box, so in the future we can move this project to another Dragon and put the proper keyboard panel that was on there and make it look like it was in the factory, even if we don't know what the original would look like. Because in the factory, what was actually doing the testing was a Dragon with a modified keyboard on it. It had these keys on it laid out in a similar manner.
So the software was running on another Dragon that's specially hacked, basically, to be the test unit.
But to use the parlance of the time, this was called the slave, the one of the test, and then this is emulating the master, basically, and we don't have the source code or any hardware information for the master. So this is purely an emulation of what the master would do. It was just, I was so inspired from some factory footage that appeared showing inside the factory, and I looked at it and I thought, I've seen that text before. I pulled out the source code and thought, this is a new challenge.
Excellent,
And I thought, this is the first time anyone, you know, this would have been the second piece of code it would ever run. Obviously, the basic, Microsoft Basic when it started up. And then it would have been straight on the production line and they would have run this test.
That's really cool.
So yeah, I thought it was a nice little bit of history.
Definitely, I was about to say a little bit of history there from the machines.
I'm hoping
test phase.
I'm hoping to have the ROM available soon because there's a little typo I need to fix that I put in.
Where's that? Oh, I've just seen it.
Keyboard. Because I only had the assembler listing, so I made a little typo over there. So I will make the source code. Well, the source code I think is available already, but I will actually make the ROM available soon. But unfortunately, you can't do anything with it without a test rig.
Interesting stuff. A lot of hard work gone into that. Good stuff.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. I enjoyed the day.
Thank you.
Cheers. Great to see a lot of the old Dragon 32 games here. All the Cuthbert games at the side there. Look at them, so many of them. You've ever seen so many.